Okay, you're one, yeah, right, which is an Ionian, Greece Ionian. But this is when, by the time that this is referring to that land. Why? Because when the so-called white men took over that land, they became Greeks. They took on their name upon themselves. That's why you know these Edomites today as Greeks or Grecians, because they took over that part of the world. That's where they really started getting up to Europe through the Macedonians, which were Edomites. I have this website here, right, and it says Alexandros, Macedon, and Macedonia. Right now, this guy, he goes into a rant about how the original Macedonians are really, from the Pelasgian and all them, Pelagesian or whatever, them people, the original Japhites were. But it's not true, because the people. Well, we'll read it and give you'll see for yourself. And you, like I said, you can read this. There's a lot of bones in this thing, so if you want to read through it, you can read through it. But it's just a little couple of points here that I wanted to make, just to show you that the so-called white men that's there today, they're not the original people of that land. All right, which they're all descendants from Alexander the Greek, which they're all descendants of Alexander the Greek. So they all the same people. But that's the same thing that's happening over there in the land of Israel. You got one sect of so-called Jews fighting against another sect of so-called Jews, and the one saying that one of them is not the Israelites, and the other one saying that they're not the Israelites. Well, neither one of them are Israelites. It says the world has never never tired of speaking about Alexander the Great. But how many people, and especially how many historians, have visited Macedonia and tried to speak with a Macedonian? I'm just going to skip through here a little bit. How many historians have studied the history of the Macedonians and of the Macedonian state, from its early foundation to the present day, when it shared between the Greeks, the Bulgarians, Yugoslavians, and the Albanians, each trying to adjudicate a claim for the territory and for the Macedonians? Does anyone care today if today the Macedonians, living in their own country but under a Greek yoke, lead a worse life than under the Ottoman rule? The Greeks do not acknowledge their existence, so do not offer them the well-known rights any minority is entitled to. See, so you have a situation where the people of Greece, which are the same people that conquered Macedonia, they're the same people, but now they're trying to separate themselves from those people of Macedonia, and trying to say that those people of Macedonia, they're not actual Greeks, which they're right, but they're not Greeks either, because they're Edomites. So there's this ongoing fight between them. Now it says here the origin of the Macedonians. It says, why are the Greeks so keen on lying about it when they consider the Macedonians to be of Greek origin? If their theory is so blatantly wrong, it's a pity, I think. This could make us believe that actually their entire culture may be hiding a well-buried theft long since woven into their history. So that's why they don't want to allow the so-called Macedonians up in there. But it's too late, because everybody knows that Alexander the Greek, who those people in Greece are descendants of, he came from Macedonia. Philip, his father, so big deal, because that was the beginning of the so-called white man getting into Europe through Greece. All right, I'm just jump down one more point I want to make in here. It says one of the descendants of Alexander the First of Macedon was denied participation in the Olympic Games on account of being a barbarian and not a Greek. See, so they were not Japhetic, they were not Japheth, and so like I was saying here in the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, when it speaks about that the Hamites and them Ishmaelites sold our people to the hand of the Grecians. The reason why they call them Grecians, because by that time they had already taken over this land. Because when did the so-called slave trade start? Around the 1500s into the 1600s, which the bulk of the slaves coming over in 1620. So by that time, the so-called white man, the Edomites, had already infiltrated Europe. All right, now I want to go. I want to go to this other. I want to go to Genesis, the 27th chapter, and the 34th verse, because I want to show you a little something and a comparison that I made. It says Genesis 27:34, and when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, O my father. Now this is when Jacob, got over and got slick and basically stole Esau's birthright, which was already set up in the spirit anyway. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety and hath taken away thy blessings. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved the blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy lord. See, that's why Esau came under subjection under us, with King David, and the other Judite kings. And all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him, and what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword thou shalt live, and shalt serve thy brother. See, that's why Esau had to serve us. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Now, I'm going to go here to the book of 2 Chronicles. Because there's several, there's a couple scriptures that go into the same topic, but I kind of like the way this one was worded. This is 2 Chronicles 21:8. It says, and in his days the Edomites revolted from under the dominion of Judah. So this is the fulfillment of the prophecy in Genesis the 27th chapter, where Isaac told Esau, it says, and by thy sword thou shalt live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So it says, in his days the Edomites revolted from under the dominion of Judah, and made themselves a king. See, so they made themselves a king. Now, if you type in a list of kings of Edom, there's certain Assyrian and Syrian writings that actually have a list of some of the names of the kings of Edom, which is not really important because it's not really in the scriptures, even though the name king is in there. But they do have a record of some of these kings, of Esau. They used to call them Udum or Idumi, the kings of Edom. All right. It says, then Jehoram went forth with his princes and all his chariots with him, and he rose up by night and smote the Edomites which compassed him, and the captains of the chariots. So the Edomites revolted from under the hand of Judah unto this day. Now this right here, this particular incident, this happened after King David and after King Solomon. So this happened around the year 896 BC. Around that, about between 900 and 890 BC, somewhere in that time frame. All right, that's the time when Esau revolted from under the hand of Judah. And you better believe that the Edomites did not stay in the land of Idumea. They were all over the place. They moved. When they were being persecuted, some of them ran. I mean, there's no like straight document right now that proves that, but I bet you if you dig hard enough, you'll find something like that. Now this, keep in mind, it took place around between 900 and 890 BC, around that time period, right? Now when you look up the word or the list of the kings of Macedon, right, it says here, Macedon, also known as Macedonia, was an ancient kingdom centered on the present day region of Macedonia in northern Greece. Right, so now when you look through here, it gives you a time period of the kings that ruled in Macedon, beginning with this guy Caranus, 808 to 778 BC. You see, so this is close to the time. This is maybe about a good 90 years after Esau revolted from under the hands of Judah. So it's very possible that these kings here that ruled in Macedon, because as you go, if you scroll down through here, you're gonna see where we just read about this guy Alexander the First. It said one of his descendants was denied access to go into the Olympics because he was not a Greek, because they knew something. And then as you scroll down through here some more, you'll find out what Philip II. This is the king of Macedon. This is Alexander the Great's father, and then you see Alexander the Third, the Great. So they were Macedonian kings. So it's possible that this guy, because the time periods match. perfect. With the time when Judah revolted from the hand. I'm sorry, when Esau revolted from under the hand of Judah, and they didn't stay there because they had kings, so they moved about. So it's very possible that this guy here could be the first link of Esau taking over Europe, or it could be that some of these beginning kings here were actually Japhites, which were dark-skinned people, and down the line somewhere, maybe here or whatever, they could have inserted themselves like they did in Europe after King James the First, on down the line. With I believe it was Queen Victoria was the last Jake that ruled in England. And the same thing with the other kings, and they just inserted themselves in there and made a proclamation that they were the new people. So it's possible that could be the case here, or it could be the case that all these kings here were actual Edomite kings, because the time frame links up. All right, so I just wanted to bring out that little tidbit, because that kind of ties in to the lesson, because that's why it said that the Hamites and the Ishmaelites sold the children of Israel to the Grecians, because by that time, the time that was going to happen, the so-called white men, the Edomites, were going to be in the land of Greece.